So I'm working on the bed over the cab in this 1976 Dodge Brome RV, and it's had several leaks over the years, and have attempted to get rid of all the leaks, and have done a lot of caulking with ProFlex RV, and continue to have leaks. And what I've determined is that even though I like the ProFlex RV, it's good for a lot of things. I think in this case, it just needed the edges taken apart up here on the corners and new butyl tape put in all the way around. So that's what I'm working on now. I've taken the J-rail, which this one, you can see this piece of J-rail that's kind of hanging out up here. Taken that off all along here, and along the top, going back to about well, right above that window, you can see, and taken that apart, cleaned it. I used a little brass wire brush and some mineral spirits, and cleaned it after I've gotten the existing putty tape off. One thing I didn't really realize till I got into it is that in addition to putty tape being underneath the J-rail, which you can see on this J-rail, you can see there's some of the old putty tape still attached to that. In addition to that, there's also putty tape in between this joint right here, so when this laps over, there's putty tape in behind there. And so that's what I've been working on too, is cleaning that off, and I'm going to put more of the butyl tape in behind there, all the way around, all the way up and above this window, and then get that stapled in good, and then go back with the J-rail, clean the J-rail off good. I've got the other piece of J-rail in the shop. I need to clean that off and get that good and clean so that I can put the putty tape or the butyl tape on it and then screw it back in place, so it'll have two sections or two layers of butyl tape once I get done. Got the butyl tape put on, ready to fold over the siding from the bottom and staple it on, cut off that extra butyl tape on the corner. I've got the first layer of butyl tape put in, and the skin that wraps around this side panel stapled, so you can see all along here, you can see the tape protruding out just a little bit, which is fine. Put staples every, I don't know, maybe every 6 inches or something like that, probably closer together up here, and so it went back together pretty well. The next thing I'm going to do is clean off the J-rail, put tape, the butyl tape on top of this seam here, and then put the J-rail on. The staples I used are not the same as what I pulled out, but it's what I had. I think it's fine. So I used this 18 gauge air stapler, and here's the staples. I think it's a 1-inch staple. They're just not as wide as the ones I pulled out, but they look fine. I think they're holding fine, so I think that'll be good. So we're doing a rain test or a water leak test after I have taken the front corners apart and put all new butyl tape under them. First took the J-rail off and took the corners apart, put butyl tape in the seam of where the corners go together, and then put the butyl tape under the J-rail, and I put the J-rail back on top of that. It actually went from back here all the way down from on the outside, and then from there back to about right here is where everything I took apart on both sides. So far I don't see any leaks. which is good. We're supposed to get some rain though in another day or two, so we'll see what that shows. So it looks like I finally got the leaks fixed here in the front end of this RV. And one thing I learned was that when fixing leaks, and these were some fairly significant leaks, they were not just something really minor, that it really pays to go to the heart of the problem, and that evidently was that the old putty tape on these corners, on the outside top and bottom corners leading out to the point on each side, was obviously brittle and old, and didn't seem like any amount of caulk, even that Proflex RV, seems like any amount of that I put, or maybe I just didn't get it all in the right spot, it just seemed like it continued to leak. So ended up taking the J-rail off the outside and along the top out to the point, and along the bottom out to the point, and replaced all that, put new putty tape, butyl tape inside the seam of where the aluminum overlapped, and then on top of that, when I put the J-rail back on, put the butyl tape under that as well. And just tried to really beef it up in areas where I thought it needed it, make sure it was plenty thick. And so we had a pretty good rain today, and normally I would see wetness down in here, but this is dry. So I think next thing I'm going to do is start building the frame of the bed platform. This seam along here, I'm going to have to take all those screws out from the outside, and there's going to be a cross piece that goes from one side to the other, probably a 2x2 piece that goes across like this, and then I'll put new screws back in from underneath into that piece, and then there's a kind of a molding on the outside I'll have to put back, and then once I get that, I'll just start building the rest of the framing and take it from there. So here's what it looks like on the outside, where I've taken off the J-rail, taken the aluminum apart at the seam, put new butyl tape inside that seam where the aluminum overlaps, got that stapled in, and then put the J-rail back on with butyl tape under the J-rail, and put the screws back in there. I think I'm going to replace some of these screws. Some of these are older screws. I've got some newer ones that a little bit longer, hope will hold a little bit better. Doesn't look that pretty, but the whole RV doesn't look that pretty, so at least it's watertight. One other thing that I also did is to prop up this side of the bed area, because it had started sagging, I guess, over the years as some of the wood deteriorated on the inside. It just let it sag. So I think comparing it to the other side, it was sagged about an inch lower than the other side. I put a horizontal piece here to support that whole side, and then just cut a piece of 2x4, kind of wedged it in there and kept driving it. So it's raised it up about 3/4 of an inch. I'm afraid to go too far with it. I don't want something to break loose. But I have, once I got that raised up, I did some bracing on the inside. I don't really know if that's going to be enough to continue to support it and keep it raised up when I take the brace out, but we'll see. So once I got it raised up on the outside, I reattached some of the inside framing in here. I reattached that joint right here. There was a little bit of a gap. I just wedged that and then put a big screw through there. Same here. And I also added these diagonal pieces because I think this vertical piece here is pretty stationary, and I think these two diagonal pieces right here with several screws in them will help. I don't know if it'll really be enough to continue to support once I take the bracing out, but I'm going to give it a shot there. I may put another brace in here if I can find a place where I think it'll make a difference. So that's what I'm going for, is hopefully just even it up a little bit. It didn't look too bad like it was, but I tried to raise it up if I could.